Hi, just want to drop everybody a quick video message. Today I'm going to be covering salaries, a topic that I've had a lot of requests for, from people on the phone. People messaged me on LinkedIn. I put out a survey last week and it was almost unanimous that this is what people wanted information on. So I'm going to break this down into different videos. Today I'm only going to address the salaries specifically in terms of the numbers for electrical engineers in Scotland. However, if you work in building services, the trends that I'm going to talk about here will be relevant to you no matter what your job is and no matter where you're based. So if you're elsewhere in the UK and watching this, or if you're one of my contacts in the States, these trends are exactly the same no matter where you're based, but the numbers are probably only relevant to the guys that are in Scotland. So I'll quickly run through them and then I'll recap on things that we need to consider here, because I do have some concerns and from some of the conversations that I'm having both with employers and with candidates, and I really want to address that, so please stick with me and hear me out on that. So quickly, just to cover the numbers, graduate electrical engineers anywhere between £22,000 and £30,000 now for an entry level role. Typically you're going to be about the £25,000 mark. If you're an employer watching this and you're paying 22, I would really strongly suggest that you review that and get as close to that 25k mark as you possibly can. Engineers now, anywhere between £30,000 and £43,000. Senior electrical engineers are probably going to start now about the £45,000 mark, which used to be the price of an experienced senior engineer. So now you're looking at somebody maybe moving into that role on £45,000, then getting anywhere up to £60,000. There are very select few individuals that probably qualify for that though, and I have advertised jobs and there are companies that will pay £60,000 for a senior engineer, but not just anybody can get that. If your salary is going to start with a 6, probably at associate level now. If you're an associate that doesn't start with at least a 6, it's probably something that needs to be reviewed. And if you're a work-winning associate, that could be anywhere up to £80,000. For directors, probably between 90 and 140,000, depending on the company and your role within it. So that's just a quick overview of the numbers. If there's anything you want clarity on, please just drop me a message or message in the comments and let me know. What I want to talk about specifically, and something that keeps coming up, is people comparing themselves to the averages, specifically senior electrical engineers. If you're looking at the numbers, whether that's subsidy that's provided that or some agency that's provided that, the numbers across the UK are not a reflection of what you should be getting paid, for the main reason that if you're a younger engineer, there's a real gap in the market where you sit. After 2008, economy struggling, not a lot of people going to university to become building services design engineers, and we're paying the price for that now. There's a real gap in the market. So if you look at the average salaries for a senior engineer, the majority of people that those numbers apply to are experienced senior electrical engineers that have seen every type of project, probably doing a bit of management responsibility, maybe were an associate previously, now just stepped into a senior engineer role. All of those people are probably going to get paid more money than you, are probably worth a bit more money to the business in terms of what they can deliver and the speed that they can deliver it at. So if you're sitting there as a young electrical engineer or any engineer and you're thinking, oh, I'm below the company, I'm below the industry average, is my company paying less than the average rate? That's not necessarily the case. So these are the sort of things, just pick up with me, give me a call if you want to talk about your money, even if you're not moving jobs. I'm always free to have a chat. I offer careers advice, information about the market and salaries and all this stuff that you really need to consider. And it's an entirely free service, so reach out to me. Definitely if you're thinking about a move, give me a call. I'm more than happy to speak to you about it. But if you are looking to move and your only question for me is what can I get paid elsewhere, and your only motivation to move is an increase in salary, it's a recipe for disaster in my opinion, and something that you really need to reevaluate. If you're going to get more money and you're happy, you've no reason to move, try and get more money from your current employer. Ask the question before you do anything. Don't go back to them with an offer that you got from another company. Ask them the question yourselves. Getting a counter offer at the moment is not a position that you want to be in. Certainly if it's something that you appear to have tried to negotiate yourself, and having that offer from another company has been something that you've taken to them to negotiate your salary. I don't like to use this as a bad word in recruitment, or just in general, but we could potentially be heading towards a recession. There's absolutely no denying that. So being the person that went to your employer, had them over a barrel to get more money, is not the position that you want to be in. If the market takes a dip, there's less work out there, there's less jobs, companies start making cutbacks. You don't want to be that guy. So I would really suggest that you have a proper conversation with your employer. More than happy to speak to you about how to have that conversation, and then if you're not worth that money to them, at least you'll know that and you need to move on. However, if you are moving on, it's important that you move into the right role and understanding why is that role there. So I'll give you an example. You might be a senior engineer that historically has been worth £48,000. You know, the market has moved on. There might be companies out there that will pay you £55,000. So there'll be two companies, company A and B, that want to pay you £45,000 now. One of these companies has a healthy pipeline of projects. They might have some major infrastructure projects that are going to keep them busy for years. There might be a clear plan in place as to where the work is coming from.